Hello everybody and welcome. It's your boy Shimmy Gummies, aka Captain X, and yes, I know you guys have read the title. So today what I'm going to be talking to you about is yet again another real world topic. I'm actually going to stop calling these real world topics. I'm going to start calling them a different segment. I don't know, I'll think of a name later on. Probably throughout this video, I'll probably come up with something. But yeah, so I'm going to call it something else because that name's already been taken by another YouTuber and I'm not trying to joke off his channel. Anyways. Into the point of this video. Firstly, I'd like to just say thank you to every single one of my subscribers, for everyone who's supported me on my Facebook fan page, YouTube, giving me comments, feedback, all of that business, because me running this YouTube channel has actually just landed me a job in a game development company up here in Middlesbrough near my university. So yeah, I'm going to be on a 6-week placement for over the summer period so I can actually gain some experience, which is obviously going to boost my chances of employability later on in the future when I apply for a full-time position with like somebody like EA or Ubisoft or somewhere like that. Anyways, so that's just that. I'd like to say thank you to that, because I got a phone call today, funny enough. I was just minding my own business, actually in the middle of brushing my teeth, and I get a phone call like in the morning from like an unknown number. And you know what, I got a story about unknown numbers as well. But so basically, let me get into the story about unknown numbers here before I digress and dive into this video. Basically, there was this girl that I used to see while I was at uni, and then me and her stopped talking because like she got way too attached. Like, brothers know how girls get too attached. But anyways, long story short, I ended up breaking her off, and then like she would keep calling me like from unknown numbers, and it was going on for months actually. Like she keep calling me. So then eventually I said, you know what, from now on I just don't answer unknown numbers. But today, for some reason, I decided to answer this unknown number. I didn't think it was her, no way, because it's been about like 5-6 months now. But so I answered the phone now, and it was that. So I could have missed out that opportunity. So basically, the moral of that short story is, answer unknown numbers. If it's somebody that you don't want to speak to, you can always just hang up the phone. So I've learned that lesson. Anyways, now let's dive into the point of this video. What I'm going to be talking to you about today is basically the struggle of finding a job, employability, and things of that nature. Because we all know, we're all living out here, we're all living in like bad times in the economy. The struggle is real. Whether you're in the UK, the US, or anywhere around the world, except China. Their economy is doing quite well. Yeah. So if you're anywhere in like one of these like Western countries, you understand that the struggle is real at the moment, and that finding a job seems to be near impossible. But then somehow some people seem to be able to get jobs on the fly. So I'm going to be talking to you about like ways in which you can, like general ways in which you can probably boost your chances of employability and landing a job. Alright, first thing, the typical thing that happens with most people that when they apply for a job is that the person may or may not have the skills. And let's say for example that they have the skills. The first thing that the employer says to them is that, okay, what relevant experience do you have here besides your education and qualifications? How the hell are you supposed to get experience if nobody ever gives you the opportunity? It's almost essentially like you have to get experience to get experience. Now, does that make any kind of sense, or is there any logic behind that? No, there isn't. But unfortunately, that's the world that we're living in at the moment. So I'm going to be talking to you about like how you can do things to like, basically break that endless cycle, that vicious circle. Most people don't like doing these things, but these things definitely help you. One of them is straight up voluntary work. I know that some people, like, they have families and stuff and they don't have the time, and I completely understand that. So this generally more applies to people that are at university or more about my age, slightly younger, probably slightly older, probably just graduated. Voluntary work is essentially free experience. Companies would be more than willing to pay for your travel costs, the cost for your lunch and stuff, for you to be able to provide your services for free. Yeah, there has been times where companies have, fobbed people off and said that and not giving them a job at the end of it, but the experience that you've gotten from taking on that role is something that they cannot take away from you. Something you can put on your CV and they can't deny you that experience. So that's how you break that mold. The second thing is pursuing higher education, probably like a master's or a degree such as what I'm doing right about now. But it's not only that, because that falls into the category of education. So again, you need to put yourself out there and apply for internships, whether it be 6 weeks, a month. You need to be proactive, because basically the job market in every industry is like, there's more people applying for jobs than there are jobs available. So you need to do something that makes you stand out. And the way you can make yourself stand out is by simply, conforming to normal things like, coming to this, being there smart, being on time, things of that nature. But then also things like this. I see people, like even in my own family, they'll make their CVs, they'll go out to shops and hand out CVs. To be honest with you, that's just not going to work in this day and age. Because you hand out your CV, you might give it to the manager, you might even give it to like one of the shop assistants, which is not going to give it to the manager. So even if this does give it to the manager, you need to remember that this guy or woman, this man or woman, has hundreds, maybe thousands of CVs. People applying for his job. So what makes your resume any different to anybody else's? And here's the thing you need to think about. Depends on the position you're applying for. If you're applying for somewhere in like the creative industry, so that could be graphic design, art, media, video editing, anything of that nature, anything in the creative industry, you need to develop yourself a portfolio, because it's your portfolio that's going to separate you from the rest of the flock. And that's what landed me my place in my university I'm at now. As you can see, I'm in University Halls at this very moment, and that's what landed me my place. Interestingly enough, I'm not even bragging or anything here, but every interview that I've ever had, I've always been successful. But the trouble is getting the interview. And most people get nervous when they get to the interview stage, and that is not the time for you to be nervous, because you've got to look at it this way. When an employer is filtering through hundreds and hundreds of candidates, the fact that they're calling you in for an interview means that they see, on paper, they've already decided that you have the relevant skills and qualifications to be able to complete their requirements as a company or as an industry or whatever. They've already decided that, you're, as qualifications go, you're good enough for the job. What the interview essentially is just basically to put a face to the name, and that applies for every single interview. Even if you have group interviews, because all a group interview is that, okay, we've got like these select maybe 5, 6, 7 candidates that all fit, our criteria. Now we're going to see which one of their personalities fits the job, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to work with an arsehole or a dickhead. It's just that blunt. So basically, whenever you go to like a group interview or an interview, just be yourself, be polite, pleasant, be approachable, dress smart, naturally, turn up on time, about 15 minutes early, that's always good. And just, take it from there. At the end of the day, just be yourself, because at the end of the day, you're the one who is going to have the job. You're the one who's got to live it at the end of the day. And if you're going to be working, not being yourself, you essentially end up being a slave to your job. That's another thing I want to touch on as well. A lot of people, will do jobs just for the sake of like, I need the money, blah, blah, blah. I completely understand. Bills need to be paid. Some people have families to take care of. I completely understand that. But at the end of the day, if you find yourself you're in a dead-end job or something, always pursue higher heights. Like, don't ever settle for what you've got. Always go for what you truly want out of life, because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with it. You're the one who has to do that job for the next 30, 40 years. Or if the new government coming in has their way, it could be 50, because they're always trying to ramp up the retirement age, trying to bleed you for all the blood, sweat and tears you can give. So, with all that being said, just be proactive. Be confident within yourself, because one of the things I've always been taught, and one of the things I stick by even to this day when it comes down to everything, women, relationships, job interviews, anything, like just anything in life, with confidence you've already won. Because most of the troubles that you go through in life are generally all up here. From you've got the right mindset, you can overcome it. And the same thing applies for going for a job. Please understand that you will be knocked back several times. There's been times where I've been rejected from jobs. Not at the interview stage, I'm talking about at the application stage. Don't feel upset if you holler at a company and they don't holler back. Don't feel upset about it. And also don't take it personal as well. Now, when you're applying for jobs, what you need to do as well, you need to tailor your CV to that company specifically. I see people like they have just general CVs, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have I worked here and here, but these things are unrelated. So then what you have is basically have like a mishmash CV or resume or whatever you want to call it. So what you need to do is you need to look at the objectives and basically aims of that company, and you need to tailor your CV in accordance to what those are. See if your skills match up with those. Back up all your skills and how you'd be useful to that company with case examples of things that you've done in the past. Like, for example, I could say that, yeah, I'm a really great animator, so could anybody else, but then I'd have my portfolio to back it up. Or somebody could say they're a really great salesman. Okay, anybody can say they're a great salesman, but then you bring out statistics and graphs and stuff to back it up. See, so tailor your resume and your CV to fit the job description, and that will put you in a much, much greater stead for you to be called in for an interview. And once you're called in for an interview, you should be able to wing it from there. The interview bit is the easiest bit, because generally what it is just a conversation with somebody. And I'm pretty sure that at this day and age, at the age you are now, we could all have intelligent, professional conversations with people, with having like the odd joke here or there. And that's another thing as well. When you're in the interview, don't be too uptight and too rigid. Relax, take it easy. Bust 1 or 2 jokes with the person that you're talking to, because at the end of the day, they are human too, and they're doing a job at the same time, and they don't want their job to be boring. And obviously, if they have somebody there that's going to liven up their day, they're going to want to work with them. Like, suppose I'm the boss of my own company now, and you come to me and you're having an interview. We're having an interview with me, but you're just so rigid and whatnot. I'm thinking, okay, fair enough, you're good for the job, but you're kind of boring. I can't really have a conversation with you, so you're not going to make my work life any more enjoyable. But then I get person B now, who has the exact same qualifications as you do, same grade, same experience, same everything. But then they're more bubbly and whatnot, and I can actually have a good time and have a decent conversation with them. Like, take my mind away from work from time to time. I'm going to employ that person. Personality, confidence, these are things that are very important in like just working environment, working life. Another thing you need to have is determination. Just don't ever give up, and always be hungry. Be hungry. Like, be hungry out here. Always go for what you want. Anyways, guys, I believe I've rambled enough, and I believe you guys get the message. So basically, this video is just basically my advice about pursuing jobs, especially in an economy that is just not very great at the moment. That applies for the UK and the US or anywhere you're from in the world, except China. Except China. I must reiterate that, except China. But that applies for that, and it also applies for people of several ages. I'm 20 years old, so you're probably thinking like, oh yeah, what are you talking about? Like, how can you haven't experienced enough about life to know a lot about struggles? Like, dude, you have no idea what I've been through. I've been through probably a lot more than most people in their 30s have been through. But anyways, that's not the point in this video. What the general point in this video is to offer you guys advice for people that are just in their first year of college, just graduating college, or people that didn't even go to college in general, people that are just in like a dead-end job and they just want to break the mold. I apologize about the jump cut, guys. My camera battery just died on me, but anyways, back into the video. So where was I? Yeah, so just basically you just got to do things to break that mold. You just got to push, be determined to keep going at it, and don't give up. And like I was saying before, I know a lot of you guys thinking like, I'm not an employment consultant or anything like that. Fair enough, I'm not. I understand that. But then here's something else. Here's another perspective for you. The employment consultant that you're talking to is already in their career. Do you know what I mean? They're already in their career, probably paying their mortgage, their bills, and all the things of that nature. So they're not experiencing the struggle of what life is like in this day-to-day economy, not having the job that they want, or having just a job that pays them the bare minimum. They're in their career. Do you understand what I mean? So as well as they may have done research, statistics and stuff like that, but the bottom line is this: in life, statistics prove nothing, and nobody can tell you what life is like out here for you other than yourself. You've experienced it day to day, so we all know that the struggle is real out here. So you can take my advice with a grain of salt, or you can actually just take it on the chin and be a bit more proactive, because it's proactive people that get jobs in the industry. I think the video just finished editing on Xbox, but it's whatever. Anyways, guys, like I said, this video is basically just my advice for people of general all ages, from like their teens when you can start applying for a job, to people that's probably like in their late 20s, even 30s, because there's people that are in their late 20s and 30s that still are looking for a job, because times are hard out here, man. Let's just keep it real. Let's keep it 100. Anyways, I'd just like to say thank you to all of my subscribers, all of my followers, friends and family that have supported me throughout my times at before I even got to uni, while getting to uni and things of that nature, and giving me the determination to keep pushing and striving forward. And I know that generally I just do bleach reviews and stuff, but at the end of the day, I feel like my job here isn't just to entertain you. I feel like where I can offer you guys advice to help you guys better yourself, I should be able to do that. And it's no skin off my back to give you guys the best advice that I can, because at the end of the day, you're my squad, we're all like family. We look after each other. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. I'm your captain, I look out for you. Anyways, guys, it's your boy Shimigami X, aka Captain X. I'm signing out. And as always, my people, take care and peace. Keep it 100.